Once again, good afternoon, everyone. This is Kelly Gottlieb from the National Weather Service in Tallahassee with our 1:30 p.m. severe weather briefing. As you all are aware, we're anticipating a severe weather outbreak to unfold today and into the early hours on Monday across the southeast and spread across our region. Here locally in southeast Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, and South Georgia, our primary concerns are for destructive straight-line winds and tornadoes, beginning especially late tonight and through the morning hours on Monday. This afternoon on Sunday, before the storms get here, there is potential for gusty winds in excess of 40 miles per hour, particularly across southeast Alabama and the Florida Panhandle. And this is going to be well out ahead of any showers or thunderstorms. We do anticipate that the first watch that we see will be later this evening, perhaps as early as 8 p.m. Central Time, and that it would be a tornado watch, first across South Alabama and perhaps into portions of the Florida Panhandle. So some big changes since we last spoke yesterday. We have a moderate risk for severe weather, 4 out of 5 on the scale that we use, for portions of southeast Alabama. And we could see this change a little bit later and slide a little further east. We may also see the enhanced area, the 3 out of 5 area, move a little further east. Whether we're in an enhanced or a moderate, the main impacts are really remaining the same here, that there is potential for significant wind damage across much of our forecast area, in addition to the tornado threat that we have in place. So if you will bear with me for a moment, I'm going to switch over to a web source and just kind of show you how things are starting to evolve. We have a satellite image here that shows a large area of thunderstorm activity back here across eastern Louisiana and into Mississippi. We're going to be watching for showers and storms to develop south of this main area of convection and move toward our region later this evening. So currently, if we look out there, the nearest tornado watch to our region is still back in Mississippi. Hasn't crossed into Alabama yet, so we have a ways to go before we get into the watch phase of this event. That being said, our radars are starting to show some showers develop across southwestern Alabama, southern Mississippi. Most of these storms are expected to stay west of our region, but we are going to be watching for maybe the isolated shower or storm this afternoon. But our main threat for severe weather is going to be coming later tonight as the cold front gets closer to our region. So now back into the presentation. When we talk about our overall severe weather outlook, for late tonight all the way to about daybreak Monday, we have the moderate risk area that has now been extended into the extreme northwestern portions of our area, with about half of our area in this enhanced risk area. These are the locations where we're most concerned about the potential for destructive winds in excess of 70 miles an hour with these storms, and also the potential for some dangerous tornadoes. And so those are going to be the areas greatest at risk. The slight risk is a little bit further east of that, but it is certainly possible that we see the enhanced risk, this orange area, extend maybe a little further to the east, possibly get into the Tallahassee area and more of the coastal areas. And the next update on this will be about 4 o'clock. The main hazards, again, destructive straight-line winds and the possibility of embedded tornadoes. And as you see on our threat grid here, we do have a relatively increased threat for damaging winds and tornadoes, with hail being a little less of a concern. Now, after daybreak Monday, the squall line should be just about to an Apalachicola, the Tallahassee, to Tifton line. So it's in these areas in east that we have in a risk area for severe weather, a little bit lower risk than what we've seen previously, but we don't want people to lose the primary message here, that there's going to be the potential all along and ahead of this line, even on Monday, for the potential for destructive winds and the possibility of embedded tornadoes with those. Once this squall line moves through the region by around midday on Monday into early Monday afternoon, the threat for severe weather will rapidly come to an end. Now, our timing for the arrival of storms. We've updated this a little bit from what you all saw this morning. We're looking at this area here in our western areas, storms reaching the area between 12 and 4 a.m. Central Time, then moving into the central portions of our region between 4 and 8 a.m. Eastern Time. So approaching that Tifton, Thomasville, Tallahassee area, kind of right around daybreak potentially, and then moving over toward the I-75 corridor and down into the southeast Florida Big Bend after sunrise, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., and then potentially exiting our area after 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And so currently, in terms of hazards we have in effect, much of the area is under a wind advisory. This is for wind gusts of 35 to 40 miles an hour, rather. And this could cause some minor damage to temporary outdoor structures like tents that are not well secured. We might even see a couple of limbs come down that cause some power outages in areas. For our coastal partners, we expect to see surf ramp up along the beach, and this could lead to some beach erosion on our western-facing beaches in the Florida Panhandle, so Walton Bay and Gulf counties. We also have hazardous conditions out over the marine areas, so we shouldn't see folks heading out in boats. We've got small craft advisories in the bay. We've got gale warnings off to the west. There's also going to be the concerned coastal flooding, and I'll talk about that here in just a moment. As I already mentioned, the potential for gusty winds ahead of this system. These are non-thunderstorm wind gusts just this afternoon and evening, where we may see areas like Dothan gusts to 40 to 45 miles per hour. These winds will be strongest in our western areas, a little bit lighter over to the east. And then we'll see these winds decrease a little bit once we go a couple hours past sunset, but it's still going to be a breezy night out ahead of the main showers and thunderstorms. Coastal flood threat is minor in this event, primarily in Appalachia Bay. It's more of an erosion issue over on the Florida Panhandle side. We're looking at about a 1 to 1.5 foot above ground level coastal flood threat into Appalachia Bay. This is relatively minor. We may be issuing a coastal flood advisory for this area a little bit later. The greatest time of flooding would be around high tide on Monday morning, but again, these levels are relatively low. We're mainly talking about impacts to either docks, boat ramps, and that sort of thing, not really getting water up onto any roadways at this level. So to summarize, we are expecting a severe weather outbreak across the south and then moving into our area late tonight and into early Monday. Our main concerns are for the potential for destructive straight-line winds and tornadoes. That'd be especially starting late tonight and into Monday morning across the region. This afternoon and evening, gusty winds of up to 40 miles an hour are possible, well out ahead of any showers and thunderstorms. And we could see tornado watches issued for portions of our area, mainly our western areas, as early as 8 p.m. Central Time this evening. I do want to take a moment and walk you through in just a little bit greater detail some of the timing on this. This is just one of the simulations that we've been looking at. And what I want to call your attention to is we get to about 10 p.m. this evening, we're going to be looking for this line of storms here to re-intensify. It might actually look for a couple of hours this evening there's not much going on, but a lot of our models are keen that around midnight to 1 a.m. Central Time, we see a re-intensification of this line as it approaches our area. And this is when we're going to be really concerned about the damaging wind threat and the tornado threat. And you see by about daybreak here, this line is nearing a Tifton to Tallahassee line, and so it comes through around 7 to 8 in the morning. And then the line starts to weaken out as it goes a little bit further off to the east with our threat ending in the early afternoon hours. And so that's kind of a look at how we see things evolving as we go forward. So to wrap up, NWS Chat, if you're not on it, go ahead and sign up. If you Google NWS Chat, the first link that comes up is going to take you to our sign-up page. And you can use this to monitor what's going on across our region. You can interact with Weather Service meteorologists if you'd rather not give us a call. This is strictly reserved for government, media, and emergency management personnel. Okay, if you have a question.
Yeah, hey, it's Rodney and Jackson. Are y'all pretty confident on this timing for tomorrow morning?
Yeah, our confidence is really increased in the timing. We feel good about the activity getting into your area, in that 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. time frame, and then moving out of Jackson County thereafter 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning.
Okay, and you said you got an update coming a little bit later. I'm assuming you guys will be putting that out?
Yeah, we're going to be putting out some content on social media around 4 o'clock Eastern, and then having...
Call recording is off.
That we will share out through email as well.